left all my puns at home, and quite frankly, I don't have any puns to tell you, so I'll just share a good one. Why wouldn't the lobster share his snack? Because he was shellfish. Hello, and welcome to a new video. This time I'm gonna be reviewing a book, because I don't do that on my channel already. This book is Cut Both Ways by Carrie Mesrobian. This comes out September 1st. This book follows a teenage boy named Will. Will's parents are divorced, and so he goes back and forth between his mom's house, which is very proper and fancy, and she's very work-oriented, and his dad's house, who is a construction worker, and he's always trying to fix things up, and he's always buying spare parts, and his life is more helter-skelter, living by the day. Between going back and forth between these two locations, he meets a girl named Brandy, who he starts to have a fling with, but also he realizes he may have developed feelings for his best friend Angus, who is another guy. So this book just follows Will going back and forth between these two special people in his life, trying to figure out what it means, if he's gay, if he doesn't fit into a certain stereotype. When I first hauled this book, I said this is about a bisexual boy, but I'm not gonna say that now. I'm gonna let you know later on in my review why I think that this book was not sold right, and I don't think that would be an accurate description, and why I think it's even a little bit offensive to that community. The synopsis is so promising, and I was really looking forward to this, but was let down. I think the main component of why I didn't like this is because there's two different things. One is the way that the experimenting, and I don't even want to call it experimenting, but being with two people, one of them being a person of his same gender. I'm gonna keep using the word experimenting, but just know that I don't mean like little fruitless endeavors of the same gender. He's like actually putting feelings toward another person. But first and foremost, I did not like this book from the beginning because it's so crude and vulgar. This book is written by a female. I think it was very blatant from the beginning that it's a female trying to write a male's point of view. It was very crude. From the descriptions of things to boy bodily functions to excessive cursing, it was not ideal. Andrew Smith, he writes really vulgar, but it's not this type of vulgar. It wasn't like, oh ew, I can't read that, because I think at this point I'm a little bit desensitized to it, but I could definitely draw a line and say this is what boys are actually like, and this is like over the top. You're just trying to make an impression on the reader that's just completely useless. I was really expecting this book to be like a raw, intense, beautiful, poetic story of self-discovery, but it was just crude, and I didn't like it. It was just not what I was expecting, which might be part of the reason why I didn't like it as much as maybe some other people might, if that's up their alley. And quite frankly, I feel like the story could have been told way better than how it was. Kind of going off of that, there was a ton of mature content in this. If you're someone who doesn't like a lot of cursing, a lot of inappropriate scenes, a lot of vulgar descriptions, I would not even attempt to pick this up because you would not be a fan. If you're a sensitive reader who does not like a lot of sexual content, just skip it. Find another book. This book literally alternates like every other chapter. It's like sex with a girl, making out with a guy, inappropriate scene with this person, disgusting scene with this person. It's like, it's never ending, first of all. I wouldn't say it's unrealistic because, I mean, teenage boys, but it's a lot of content. The main reason this book goes by so fast is because there isn't really any substance to this plot. It's all just like teenage smut. Could we have done without it to tell a better story? Yes. And I think the main reason why it just didn't work with that much sexual content was because in the end there was no defining moment of, oh, all of this has helped me discover that X whatever final product. It was more of just, it all happened, he liked it in the moment, but it didn't really push him to discover anything. It was just kind of like, I like kissing a boy, but also I like kissing a girl. Who am I? What is this? And that was one of my other biggest things I didn't like about this book, was that in the end, after all this, after all the shenanigans have gone down, after he kind of draws a conclusion of, I love both of them, what do I do? It just kind of wraps up too quickly. There's really no final thought of, I am bisexual, I prefer this person over the other. I really don't want to spoil this ending, so I don't think I'm going to say more about it, but it ended horribly. It has a very weird, randomly placed, open kind of ending. I did not like it. I think it was a cop-out ending. It fixed nothing. It's not a good representation of bisexuality. In the author's note in this, she says, I will quote this word for word. The word bisexual never once appears in the story, and readers may wonder why Will doesn't come to identify himself in this way. I think what the author tried to do was okay, and she's saying he was kind of in denial about it and he was unsure about his sexuality. But in a book where it is so poorly written about there's cheating and he's having these lustful feelings for people all the time, and he literally does not know what sexuality he is because he's trying to say, am I gay? But he has a girlfriend, and I think it would have been so much easier and it would have packed such a better message if he would have just come clean and even figured out the word bisexual and had some sort of a revelation to go along with him saying, this is who I am, I feel comfortable being in my skin, I'm going to healthily choose one of these relationships to keep pursuing and stop hurting people. That never happened. It was kind of just I like both of them, oh well, we'll see what happens. And that was the most frustrating thing about this book. This is the only book I've read about a bisexual person, and it doesn't even come out and say that he's bisexual. It can be assumed because I know the definition of bisexual, which is what I got from the synopsis, but if someone were to just pick this up, they would probably think that he's just this horny teenager who will go after anyone he wants just because he wants someone to make him feel loved, which is a very not healthy lifestyle, and I think it could have been done a ton better. The potential for this book makes me actually upset because it could have been done a lot better. I can see myself loving this book. I do really like Will. I think he's a great personality of hardworking and passive, and he's kind and he's honest and he cares for his family and his friends, but he was written in a way where all he cared about was sex, and in the end that was kind of gross. It kind of flattened his character arc. I'm just extremely frustrated with this end product because it could have been so much better. But just mentioning a couple things I did like about it, sorry it's at the very end where I'm already have bashed this book. I did like how fast this went. It did have a pretty fast speed and I stayed up to 1 reading it. Also, a really good conversation that I think this book touched on was the stereotypical gay person, and he's saying, oh, I'm not like a musical guy who's all into fashion and glitter and just all these things that the media kind of labels to gay men. And I do really like that this points out that you don't have to have a certain look or a certain sound or certain vibe to be a gay man. It's whoever you are. And I like that. I like that it kind of points out that you can be normal. I don't know if that makes sense, but I liked how this book pointed that out. Great job to HarperCollins for publishing LGBT material. However, I would suggest you all pass on this one. As a straight person, this book offended me a little bit. I did not like the vibe it gave, or it kind of badly portrayed bisexual people. One of my friends who was gay read this book and he said he did not like it at all. So I just kind of want to hear opinions about it. So if you want to pick it up just because you want to read it and share your opinion, then I will definitely listen. But if you're wondering if this is worth your time, it's not. So thank you all for watching this video. Sorry this is really weirdly set up. I was gonna film in this position, but you can see weird sync things, so I don't know what we're gonna do. Hope you all enjoyed this review, and goodbye!